Live. Broadcasting live on the Double Wide Network. It's time for The Real Deal. Join the Ambassador and special guest hosts as they put together great guests and honest commentary on a range of issues. For one of their main topics will be preserving Native American tributes in sports team nicknames. Also avid fans of music and the arts, and they'll always make time for a great song or two. Now, it's time for The Real Deal. Here's your host, the Ambassador.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to The Real Deal on the Star Worldwide Networks at the Camelback Towers in beautiful downtown Scottsdale, Arizona. I hope everybody's doing well, having a good week. We're having a good one as well. It's a little chilly in Scottsdale, and I'm with my producer, Kyle Pratt. Say hi, Kyle.
How's it going, everybody?
Well, we're just trying to get warmed up, and then I have a beautiful co-host in the studio tonight, Priscilla de los Santos. She's an enrolled member of the Pascua Yaqui Nation. Say hi, Priscilla.
Hello, everybody.
That's a girl. You're doing okay. She is. I'll talk about her in just a little bit and how her and I got to be friends and almost like family now over the past couple of years. But I got to tell you, next month. Did you realize, Kyle? Next month we've been on for a year.
Yeah, time flies.
I know, a year. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We finally got our first sponsor. And I'm going to talk about him tonight and his company. These are friends of the Ambassador for many, many years, and Jane. And it's the John Grace Propane Company, ladies and gentlemen, based out of Flagstaff. So let's hear a round of applause for our first sponsor. Thank you. Yes, John Grace Propane is a family-owned business. They're the largest independent propane dealer in the state of Arizona, primarily in northern Arizona. They started in Page, Arizona in 1971. Theron Graves, his uncle, Johnny's uncle, was in Farmington, New Mexico in 1954. Johnny currently has offices in Flagstaff, Camp Verde, Golden Valley, outside of Kingman. From Flagstaff, they cover Cameron, Loop, Tuba City. We also go to the Hopi Reservation. Their phone number, ladies and gentlemen, is 928-714-1111. And they do business with a lot of Navajos and Hopis in northern Arizona. And he's an avid listener to all my shows. He's been a family friend for over 30 years. And he just said, hey, Ambassador, he says, I got to try to help you. And I really, really appreciate it. So now we got our first sponsor, and it really makes me happy. It's like a Christmas present under the tree, and I don't even have a tree. But anyway, it's good to have somebody that's got your back and believes in you. And they sell propane and gas, and they rent and sell propane tanks. They hook up businesses as well as residential accounts. They're a full-service propane company with many years of experience. They also are very close friends to my Che, Peter McDonald, who is a really good friend of theirs, of the Grace family. And as you know, Peter McDonald was the former chairman of the Navajo Nation and also current president of the Navajo Code Talkers, and he lives in Tuba City, and actually he uses their propane. And their family goes through many, many Navajo leaders prior to Peter. And they support the Real Deal, and they know that the real purpose of Hal Britter, Harry Reid, these name changers in the Obama White House is to silence American Indians and remove them from our culture, keep them dependent on the government. So they are voting slaves of the government. The Democratic Party today is the party of the government. One of their main goals is to keep all minorities dependent on the government, where they will think they have to vote Republican more so or later instead of Democrats. And so that's John C. Graves. And he is going to be here in the studio with me probably after the first of the year, because he stays with me when him and his wife when they come in from Flagstaff. And he's also the one that had the racing team, and I went as his guest to the Baja 1000 about a month ago, and stayed with them in San Felipe, which was very nice. So with that being said, we're on our way to getting other sponsors. We need them, but at least we got one. That's a start. And things are looking bright, Kyle. They're looking so bright I got to wear shades.
Yep. You always walk in with those shades on. Gonna need some more.
That's right. So I'm going to talk a little, as I do, a tribute to all the teams that honor Native Americans, and we want to thank them: Kansas City Chiefs, Washington Redskins, Golden State Warriors, Atlanta Braves, Cleveland Indians, Chicago Blackhawks, for listening and honoring all Native Americans by using the names. And as I said many, many times, they're coming after all you. Adidas is with the name changers now, so you got a lot of money behind them. It's kind of a game changer. So I asked all of our listeners to boycott Adidas. Do not buy their shoes. Burn them. If you own them, give them away. Just don't do business with Adidas, because they are no good. And united we stand, divided we fall. And I also want to shout out to my Navajo brothers and sisters. In Navajo, Yat Eshade Nehe. Nahadani Ambassador, Dennis Yellowhorse and Shea, Hadish Banana, Merry Kishmish, a Quetzallah 505, Quetzallah Flagstaff, a Quetzallah Navajo Nation. Thanks for listening. Dan Snyder is the gatekeeper, always will be for us. And Hal Britter is just a wolf. And Klinkpapit in Navajo means horse belly. So that's where he's coming from. And so I'm going to let Priscilla talk to her people here in a few minutes, but I also want to shout out to all our listeners all over the country, in Lancaster, New York, Wilmington, Delaware, Neshaminy, Pennsylvania, Goshen, Indiana, and Canada. We were up in Canada recently helping them, in Mexico, in South America. And the American Indian Center of the Great Plains has always got our back, and they're based in the heart of Native American land in Kansas City. The Star Worldwide is the fastest-growing Internet radio station in the country, ladies and gentlemen. There are over almost 200 shows here now. They have 5 million listeners. Believe it, 5 million listeners. And Kyle, tell our listeners who's number one at Star Worldwide.
That would be the real deal.
That's right. And it's all because of you guys. It isn't because of me and my voice. I'd probably scared a lot of people off, but no, it's all because of you guys spreading the word, social media, and all the different tribes and non-Indians, name changers, whoever they are. We love them to listen to the show, and hopefully we can convince them that it's not really the way they think it is here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my dear friend Priscilla here. But first, since it's Christmas, we're going to play 2 songs tonight. Who knows? We might even play 3, but at least we're going to play 2. So let's just take a short break and go to our first song.
And found a vacancy. I thought I saw my future bride walking up the street. Shouted to the driver, hey conductor, you must slow down, I think I see her, please let me off this bus. Nadine, honey, is that you? Whoa, Nadine, honey, is that you? Every time I see you, you got something else to do. Saw her from the corner when she turned and doubled back and started walking toward a coffee-colored Cadillac, pushing through the crowd trying to get to where she's at. Campaign shouting like a southern diplomat. Nadine, is that you? Whoa, 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 Nadine, is that you? Every time I see you, you got something else to do. picture for me, please. Moving through the traffic like a mountain cavalier. Leaning out so sexy when they're trying to make her hear. Nadine! Is that you? Wow! Nadine! Is that you? Every time I see you, honey, you up to something new.
Okay. That was Chuck Berry with Keith Richards and Bobby Keys of the Rolling Stones playing Nadine. Several years ago, Keith Richards did a movie about Chuck Berry, and it was called Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll. And if you ever get a chance, you got to see it. I looked for it on Netflix, but you can probably buy it off Amazon. And it's a great movie, and he played a concert in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where he's from. And the concert was produced by Keith Richards, and he sung this song live on concert as well as some other ones. So that's those guys. It's on YouTube, and he's quite an entertainer, and as well as Bobby Keys and Keith Richards, because they both play for the Rolling Stones, or did. Actually, Bobby Keys passed away. So with that being said, I want to introduce my co-host. He is Priscilla de los Santos. Priscilla is an enrolled member of the Yaqui Nation. The Pascua Yaqui Nation is in southern Arizona, here in Guadalupe, and they're also in Tucson and down towards the Mexican border. And then you also have some, there's tribal members in Mexico, right, Priscilla?
That's right.
Yep. So she come on the show, but how I got to know Priscilla is she's an RN, she's a professional caregiver. And a couple years ago, when my wife became very ill, I had Jane at home, and I didn't want her leaving the home. And I looked up my options, and they were very limited. But I said I want to keep her here in the home as long as I can. So I retained Arizona Long-Term Health Care, and that's a very good program here in the state of Arizona. And I told them that I want caregivers, nurses, doctors, everybody. I'm not taking her anywhere. We're bringing it to my house here in Paradise Valley. So Priscilla was one of them, weren't you, Priscilla?
Yes, I was.
Yep. And the other thing I did is I told the administrators that I want all Native Americans. And they said, well, that might be kind of hard. And I said, I don't give a damn how hard it is. I said, go get them. I says, I want all Native Americans in here. Didn't I, Priscilla?
Yes, you did.
And so here they come. And I had Navajos, and I had some Hopis, and I had a minister that was a Navajo, and Jane's primary doctor was a Navajo. And then along come Priscilla. And Priscilla's a Pascua Yaqui, and she lives here in Guadalupe. And her family's from Guadalupe, and I'm going to let her talk about that, and she's going to address her people here in a minute. And their primary language is Spanish, and she speaks fluent Spanish. And since we got a sponsor, I think we're going to be going bilingual, Kyle.
There you go.
Well, why wouldn't
I like
we?
it.
Why wouldn't we, right? But no, she took extra good care of Jane, and right up to the end, and we gave him a hell of a go to the point where we just couldn't go anymore. But I demanded that they were all here at my home, and they stayed loyal to the end of the line, and that's just the way it was. But out of all of them, and there was a lot of them, I think Jane liked Priscilla the most, didn't she, Priscilla?
I hope so.
No, she did. I could tell, and I like you very much, and we're still good buddies, and we always will be. But the Pascua Yaqui tribe, I'll tell you a little bit about who they are in case you folks don't know. They were first in contact with the Spaniards in 1533, so that's a long time ago. And then they began migrating up to Arizona, and they ended up in southern Arizona and in Old Guadalupe. And what was really kind of sad is in southern Arizona, when the United States cut the border through Arizona, New Mexico, and Mexico, they went right through part of the reservation. And so what occurred is some of them were on the Mexican side and some of them were on the Arizona side. And Priscilla's family were on the Arizona side. And then they ended up settling in Guadalupe, which is surrounded by Phoenix now. And the federal government gave them acreage to develop their reservation, and they eventually got into the casino business. And they own, how many casinos do you guys have down there, Priscilla? 2 or 3 in Tucson?
We have 3.
Do you? You know, one of them is it Casino del Sol?
Mm-hmm.
They're beautiful. I went there and seen Willie Nelson.
Wow.
With a friend of mine from New York. I went there and seen him last year. It's almost a year ago to be about New Year's. And they're great facilities. And they're surrounded by the beautiful mountains in Saguaro National Monument, San Xavier Mission, the Old Tucson Studios, the Kit Peak Observatory. So if you're ever in Arizona and you want to go to visit some Native American reservations and see Native American from different tribes, I strongly suggest you go see the Pasquayaki tribe. Priscilla, I'm going to let you address your people in your language and tell them how we met, who I am, why I'm here, and who Jane was and what she meant to you, okay?
Okay.
Just take your time.
Pues muchos buenos tardes a todo el Phoenix, Arizona y Tempe area, as well as Scottsdale area. Estoy reportando aquí viva en el Radio Cañal con Dennis
Caballo Amarillo.
Amarillo. Quiero mandar muchos saludos a todos nuestros indios del Pasquayaki tribu. Es un placer estar en el Radio Cañal y que puedo mandar tantos saludos a nuestra familia, familiares y igual que amigos. Es muy importante en estos tiempos de feliz Navidad. Y pues aquí estoy también para hablar de Dennis y su esposa que en paz se descansa. Yo los conocí la familia cuando yo estuve cuidando a Jane Caballo Amarillo aquí en Paradise Valley. Me estuve cuidándola como unos 6 meses, hasta el fin de sus días, hasta cuando lo llevaron de la casa, estaba en el hospital y todavía me estaba en contacto con la familia y me iba con su esposo a visitarlos en los casas de los viejitos o en el hospital hasta su fin día. Y la cosa que es muy importante por su marido ahorita es que todos sepan qué importante y qué valiente y qué maravillosa mujer era ella. Y también muchos saludos a su familia de ella. Y ella es de otro tribu, pero yo creo que todos los indios pues somos familia en una manera u otra. No nomás porque somos yaquis o navajo. Yo creo que cuando llega el momento que hacemos, que nos juntamos todos, pues todos somos de una familia. Ha sido un gran placer a conocer a Dennis y su esposa. Yo los miro como parte de mi familia ya. Y estoy bien contenta de estar parte de la vida de ellos. Y todavía tenemos muchos recuerdos de Jane. Y nomás mando a saludos a todos que pueden así arrasar y pedirle que se descanse en paz y que sea con Dios. Y que nomás, pues es todo es mi primera vez aquí, so hay mucho que decir, pero la más importante, ¿por qué estamos aquí? Todo el propósito es porque hay mucha gente robando nuestros nombres de indios. Y como son cabachos que no son verdaderos indios, me informa Dennis que son de...
Well, I want you to tell them why the real deal's here, to protect these names that honor them.
Pues estos nombres que voy a leer son los nombres que por qué estamos aquí protegiendo. Estamos protegiendo estos nombres porque hay mucha gente que no son indios que están robando nuestra idéntico o indios o queriendo parar lo que es verdaderamente de nuestros tribus.
And it's important that they know, everybody, including your people, especially your people, that this whole thing is a phony scam. It's not the truth. It's the farthest thing from the truth that these people are trying to do to wipe out the culture of your people from the American mainstream. They have to know that we're not here just to be here. We're here to deliver a message, and the message is loud and clear that these people are paid actors. They're being paid to go out and protest. They're being paid to go on TV, on radio, on Telemundo, to destroy these names that honor your people.
Y sí, tiene mucha razón, Dennis, que hay mucha gente que están en las canales, en Radio Mente, en vivo, gente que son protesting así de nuestro tribu, robando nuestros nombres y que nomás lo pagan para decir cosas que no son ciertas, queriendo robar nuestras tierras, nuestros cosas que son bien importantes por todos los indios y todos los tribus de nuestra América.
Right, and tell them that changing these names, like the Washington Redskins, Kansas City Chiefs, all these names, you change all those names, what good is it going to do for you or your people, or for me or Jane and her people? Is it going to create one job? No. Is it going to help teen pregnancy? No. Is it going to help defeat alcoholism, drug abuse? No. So no por nada. Es no bueno por nada.
Pues esto no es bueno para nada, así que cambian los nombres como de los it's the Redskins, right?
Yeah, Washington Redskins.
Yeah, Washington Redskins. De todos así los nombres que están cambiando que tienen que ver con indios, que no es correcto que cambian los nombres, porque todo como está diciendo Dennis no es correcto, ese es un scam, que son la gente que se salen así como en las noticias o Telemundo o que están así queriendo cambiar cosas que tienen que ver con verdaderos indios. No es cierto, no, ellos están pagados por estar metiendo en cosas que no debían de estar metiendo en, como cosas que nosotros como indios nos inventamos que tiene que ver con nuestras tierras y verdaderos indios, no cosas falsos.
Right, it is false. That's good. No, this is what has to be said, and I speak Navajo, you speak fluent Spanish, and that's the native language. I speak some Spanish, but not as good as you do. But we're going to get that message out.
Oh, I try.
No, you did very good, honey. And we're going to convey that, and I don't care if we got to say it in Portuguese. You know, I'll get somebody in here that speaks Portuguese if that's what we got to do. But we want all persuasions of people, and trust me, when I went to Washington, D.C. to see the game, I seen it, Kyle. There was all different walks of life. different nationalities that proudly went into that stadium and proudly supported their teams. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the Redskins are in first place. Did you know that?
I did not.
They're in first place and they're running hard. So let's keep up the good work, Dan Snyder, Bruce Island, and everybody back there. We got your back. And as long as the ambassador's here, I'll be carrying the ball down the field for you. But no, I feel really good about going into the holidays here now that we have a sponsor, and so maybe there is hope for the real deal. So I can't thank the Grace Propane company for helping us out and trying to keep us going. But it's an uphill battle now that when you got a $17 billion franchise or a team or a name, Adidas, that makes sports gear that's after you. So that's a big deal. So, and they're just total scammers. I mean, they're related to the Nazi Party. The founders were part of the Nazi Party. They made shoes for Hitler and the Germans, and you know what the Germans did to the Jewish people and other races that they didn't like, because they wanted to tell everybody that the German race was the superior race in the world, and so they tried to wipe everybody else out. And that's what's going on right now with these name changers and Adidas and all of them, where they're zeroing in on Native Americans because they figure they're going to be easy. They ain't going to say anything. We'll just kick their ass, and that'll be the end of it. But we'll just keep fighting the fight and doing what we do. And we're at the end of the year next week, rather. And so we'll go on to a new year and hope to God that, we just get a break or two and try to keep on going. So I think, with that being said, Kyle, we're going to, our next stop is over in Albuquerque. So why don't you tell those pilots of ours to kick the tires and light the fires and take us to Albuquerque for the second half. But you know what? Now, Priscilla, I think I've told you this before, but you know what the problem with these name changers are?
You can't handle the truth.
I like that shit. Come on. Back to that same old place, sweet home Chicago.
All right, we're back. Feels like Christmas. That was Sweet Home Chicago with Eric Clapton, Johnny Winter, Buddy Guy, Robert Cray, some of the best guitar players of all time played on that song. Did you like that song, Priscilla?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever hear that song before?
No, I haven't.
Well, you stick with me. You're going to hear some real rock and roll, kiddo. But anyway, we're in Albuquerque. We just walked into the terminal. We're going to freshen up. Everything's good. And now we're going to sit down with my beautiful niece, Veronica Yellowhorse. Hi, Veronica. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing, Ambassador?
The ambassador's all in. And you remember Priscilla. Priscilla's here in the studio.
Hey, Priscilla. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well. I was just down there this weekend enjoying your cold weather.
God, it was cold, too. And thanks for the turkey enchiladas. They were the bomb.
Oh, weren't they awesome? I'm going to make some more and bring them down to you in a couple of weeks. They
were definitely the bomb. I've heard about them for years, and you delivered, and they were really good. So how I guess it's really colder than hell in Albuquerque, right?
Oh, it's freezing. I mean, we have snow and frost and everything all over the mountains. It's beautiful, though. I mean, you see the lights, you see the snow, you see the mountains. It's gorgeous, but it's freezing.
Yeah. Well, I looked at my temperature, and it was below zero in Gallup, so you know what that means.
Oh, yeah. I was freezing in Gallup. I stayed there the other night because I hit black ice coming back from Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, I stayed there at my home, and I did a little road trip last week, and I had to go to Santa Fe, but God, it was cold. When I left, it was snowing and blowing. I thought, I got to get the hell out of here. So I got out of Dodge. But anyway, you did a show, the Pueblo Grande show. My niece, in case first-time listeners, ladies and gentlemen, my niece, Veronica Yellowhorse, is a accomplished jewelry designer, as most all the Yellowhorse family are. And her and her family and her mother and cousins and have all been involved in the jewelry business in some aspect, Native American, of course. And she's a famous artist in her own right, and she was down here doing a show at the Pueblo Grande Museum. That was last Saturday and Sunday, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
it's a very good show, very nice. Thank you for everybody coming out to participate and visit and buy, and appreciate that always. Yep,
and she's good. I mean, her jewelry is very, very beautiful. Switching back over here a little bit, tell our listening audience, especially our new listeners, how Native Americans feel towards the names of the teams that honor them, such as the Redskins, the Chiefs, and all the Braves and Golden State Warriors, all of them.
Well, I just feel like, that I'm proud. I'm proud that there are teams out there that represent the Native American culture.
Right.
I feel like they should be having their names changed. They've been like that for forever, and I just feel very proud. I feel like, when I hear the Redskins, they're making a touchdown on TV, I'm like, oh, right, that's us, go, or any of the other teams that play baseball or football or, hockey. Yeah, I think it's a very satisfying feeling to me as a Native American that we can be represented out there. It bothers me that people want to try to get Natives to change their name to, these teams to change their name to something else.
Well,
I don't think it's right.
Well, what's bad is they don't understand the long-term thinking behind these name changers.
Yeah, like how they got their names. I mean,
right.
It's not like they just decided, hey, let's call these people Redskins because.
Well, they don't. They don't understand the history. They don't know where the names come from, and the majority of the followers of the name changers don't know where this is headed. They don't know that the ulterior motives behind these name changers is long-term. It's a long-term disaster for Native Americans.
Let's just say, we keep up the fight, and keep our names out there. What if they did change all the names? Then what would they go after next?
Well, it's like I told.
So we got to just keep.
It's like I told Priscilla at my home here a bit ago. I says, well, in 100 years, and this is so true, ladies and gentlemen, you got to believe me. You got to believe me that in 100 years, their goal is there will not be any Native Americans. There will not be any treaties. There will not be any isolated Indian reservations. The main goal here is wipe them out, get rid of them, let them live. We're not going to murder them, but let them live. But they are Americans. They have no separate sovereign status. They have nothing. And they're just like us. That's the goal.
Yeah, and
that's the goal, and that's sick. And that's why I'm here fighting the fight for you, for Jane, Priscilla, for everybody else that I can fight the fight for. Because I know it. I know these people like a book. And there's nothing new to me. I seen that fastball coming down off the mound a long time ago. So and I'm a pretty good hitter, but they always want to shut the natives up, and we're just a small little group that is growing bigger and bigger every day, but yet still they want to shut us up. If they can pick on the little guy, well, let's do it. You know? Pick on them because they're not going to fight back. They ain't got the money to fight back. We're Adidas. We're billionaires. We're Halbritter. We stole casinos. We stole the Oneida Indian Nation. We pay these idiots like Black Horse to go out and protest. They're a bunch of assholes. They get out there and they think that's the thing to do, and they get their fortune and fame, and they might get on CNN or they might get on some goofball comedy show. But when it comes down to it, they've sold out. They've sold out their own people.
That's true.
For their own personal gain, and that's
they don't
disgusting.
realize that they're just doing it for money. They half of the time probably don't even know what they're holding these signs up for, as long as they're getting a paycheck.
Well, that's what Vernon Parker, he's the former mayor here. He was on my show last week, and they have these unions have these signs here saying, shame on, what is it, shame on you? Is that what it is, Kyle? Or shame on me?
Yeah, they blame the shame on you.
Yeah, they have these big, fancy banners, and they'll be in front of, like this bank building here. Mm-hmm. You know, at Camelback Towers. Shame on you, Camelback Towers. And it's always some unions bitching and complaining that, you know, their carpenters or their electricians couldn't get hired to go redo this building. Mm-hmm. So then they hire these guys out there that stand there all day with these signs. And so my friend who was on the show, Vernon Parker, he goes and asks him, he says, do you know why you're holding these signs? He says, I don't have any idea. Didn't he say that? Yeah. They don't even, that's how ridiculous it is. And that's what you're going to see, ladies and gentlemen, in January 7th in Dallas, when, the name changers, they got this clock boy. You ever heard of the clock boy?
No.
He's a guy that, this black kid that built they thought it was a bomb.
Yeah.
And they call him Clock Boy.
I think his name's Ahmed.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He's an Arab or whatever the hell he is. Anyway, he's going to be there with Black Horse. That's their big name gatherer, their big name guy. You know, their star besides Black Horse is Clock Boy. And so they're gonna have him out there and they're going after all the name changers. So I want everybody that's going to be at the Dallas game to confront the name changers, get in their face, and tell them that you heard it on The Real Deal. They're paid actors. They're phonies. They're frauds. They're being bought off by Halbritter and Adidas and all these con artists who could give a damn about Native Americans, and get in their face and let them know that, you know, you may be a Cowboy fan. You may be a Steeler fan. You may be a Redskins fan. But today you stand united with all of us. Like if somebody wanted to change the name of the Cowboys, I'd be raising hell. If somebody wanted to change the name of the Arizona Cardinals, I'd be raising hell. I mean, you just got to take the fight to them, because that's the only thing they understand is this political correctness has gone nuts, and they just want to force force it down your throat, and the media is behind them, because the media, they've turned into a bunch of scumbags, liberal scumbags, and they don't want to print the news. They want to print their opinion. And we don't need their goddamn opinion. If we want their goddamn opinion, we'll ask for it. I don't need anybody's opinion. I can form on my own opinion. So that's what they're doing, is they're writing opinions instead of reporting the news. And that's because they're liberal scumbags. And you know who you are. And so with that being said, you know, how did the show go down here?
It was cold, let me tell you. It rained on Saturday. The wind blew. But people still came out to support us artists and to, you know, purchase from us. So that was really nice. Sunday warmed up a little bit, and then we had more people come out on Sunday, which was really nice. But, I mean, it was just, I guess that time of year when it's, has to hit a little bit cold down there when their winter is, when your guys' winter actually shows its face.
Yeah, and it was really cold too. My grass is frozen. My oleanders are frozen. There goes the flowers, Priscilla. What are we going to do now?
Cactus.
The cactus. No. Anyway, did your husband make it home?
He got called for work already.
Did he? Okay, well.
Yeah, he's called for work.
Well, we'll get him next week. How's your mom doing?
He can talk to you though. He's called for work, but he can talk. Here he is.
Oh, he can?
Here he is. Yeah, he can talk. Here he is.
Hello.
Michael.
Hey, is this the ambassador?
Yes, sir. This is my nephew. How you doing?
I'm doing good, boss. How you been?
I'm doing good. Well, you're going to work. You're at work, or where the hell are you?
Yeah, I'm here in Albuquerque, and I'm headed to work now. Getting ready to go out the door here in a few and run a train from Belen, New Mexico to Winslow, Arizona.
Okay. Well, this is my nephew. He works for the BNSF Railroad, and he is are you an engineer or a conductor?
Yes, sir. I'm a locomotive engineer.
Locomotive engineer. Yeah, that's great.
Well, yeah. I get to roll all the way through the heart of the Indian country. Gallup, New Mexico, through Lupton, all the way through.
I know. Yeah. And you used to haul a lot of our coal when we were producing coal out there at Carbon Coal, didn't you?
Yes, sir. All the way out of Window Rock to Fort Defiance at Carbon, P&M Mine before they shut it down up there on the reservation.
Right. Well, no, that's the coal hot spot, and that's why I ended up there, and that's why I grew up. You know, the other day you told me something that was very interesting, and I want you to tell our audience, when you were down here at the show, you were driving by a store, and you had an interesting conversation with some protesters.
Yes, sir. I was running an errand and saw at Walmart there was a group of protesters outside protesting, and I couldn't tell what they were doing, so I kind of pulled over and asked them what was going on, and they were of a Mexican nationalist heritage. I don't know, there's a lot of Yaqui Mexican Indians down there. I think my grandma said I might be part Aztec Indian.
That's right.
So,
you look like it.
Yeah. So I asked them what was going on, kind of in Spanish, and I kind of told them, ¿Qué pasó? What's going on in Spanish? And they said something. I speak broken Spanish. I don't understand it all, but they said something along the terms of about Walmart not wanting to hire them, and I was like, Walmart usually hires a lot of people, and not to give Walmart any props, but they said they didn't want to because they didn't speak English. And it kind of disturbed me because I'm like, we live in a sue-happy world. Everybody's trying to make a buck off of somebody for discrimination, for any type of motion that's out there. They want to make a wave. And so I asked him, why, in Spanish, I said, ¿Por qué no hablas inglés? Why don't you speak English? And he told me because he didn't want to. So it just bothered me. People want to come to the United States and they want the equal rights, want the jobs. But yet, I had to get educated. I had to, I'm Hispanic. I'm of a Mexican heritage, Spanish heritage. And, I had the opportunity to get educated and, learn English. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of who I am also. But it just disturbed me. It's just people want to ride the free buck. They want to get on the bandwagon for anything to try to get something for nothing. And sounds like you're trying to handle some of that business with this name changer stuff, and it just kind of related to that to me. And I saw how, people just try to do anything they can to disturb, and a lot of selfishness in it I saw. So I wasn't really pleased with it. And he just kept telling me, porque no, I don't want you. Yo no quiero. I said, why don't you speak English? Porque no quiero. Like, he just plain out said, I don't want to. And he's kind of, want to come to the United States for opportunities and land of the free, home of the brave. And it's just, very disturbing.
Well, Priscilla, how do you feel about that, being being an enrolled member of the Yaqui, and that's your fluent language of your tribe?
He's absolutely right. I'm all 100% for what you said. And all the Mexicans that come from Mexico or that are from Sonora, everywhere else, we all have the same opportunity as Americans. There's English and Spanish classes. There's a lot of kids being brought over from the border at a very young age or at born, but they're going to school and they're getting educated. And I think that if you want to live in America, that it's going to have to work both ways, English and Spanish for all, because we don't ride a free train.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. But, yep, I'm 100% for what you said, and that's absolutely true.
And I met your family, Priscilla, and they're beautiful people, and they're all Native Americans. They're Yaqui, Pascua Yaqui, and they're fluent in English and Spanish.
Yes. Well, we get our Yaqui tradition and our Yaqui nation, through our elders, through our grandparents. We were born and raised here in Arizona, but everybody has those opportunities now, as well as the natives and the Mexicans, to get educated and to know what's going on here. They're allowed to vote now.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there's no free rides for nobody. And I think everybody should be equal.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate that. And it's so true. And it's just incredible to hear these different stories from people like yourself and Michael, who understand both worlds, and feel the same way we do, and want to convey that to the public, and that's why I give them the platform. When I hear something like that, what you told me the other night in my living room, Michael, I said, you got to say that on the show, because it was a good story. And,
well, I think a lot of places convenience, Hispanics, Mexican nationalists. I can Gallup, where we're from.
Right.
That's the heart of Indian country, Native American Navajos. And I went into the motor vehicle, and they'll call the numbers, and they'll say 45, el número de 45, and I'm looking around me, and I'm like, there's no Mexicans in here. It's all Native American Navajos. I'm like, you could come and get Spanish classes at motor vehicle, at least how to count. I mean, we're real privileged as far as Hispanics, because, it's really, it's welcomed. It's kind of just, you don't have too many people complaining about it. And then it just disturbs me. You get some over here that they're just sticklers like that and want to make a fuss and say, I don't want to, just straight up. I'm like, that's not even cool.
Right. Well, and the problem with the Native Americans is they're a humble people, and they're not going to go raise hell at the motor vehicle department and say, how come you don't say 45 in Navajo? Well, they don't even know how to say 2 in Navajo, or 4 or 5 in Navajo, much less 45.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's kind of comical, I mean, we really need to all learn how to carry our heritage from our languages, from English to Spanish to the native tongues,
Well, you got to be proud of your heritage. I'm proud of Jane's heritage, and I'm not even a Navajo, but I'm being raised amongst the Navajos. Veronica will tell you, and there's been people here on this show that'll tell you, you're our in-law, you're our Navajo, you're us, And I feel that way because I've been welcomed into the Navajo Nation, and I do speak the language. I speak it better than these name changers. That's for goddamn sure. You know, and I used to speak pretty good Spanish, but Priscilla's going to give me lessons. Aren't you, Priscilla?
That's right.
Pretty soon, we'll both be bilingual show. But, no, but I think at the end of the day, you know, it's what Priscilla said. We all live in America, and there's no free bus. There's no free ride. And if you want to move here from another country, you learn our language. You learn our Constitution. And I have friends that come from Italy and come from Austria and Germany and Switzerland, and they're U.S. citizens, and they have homes here and in Palm Springs, and one of them's from the U.K., English Bob, and they were telling me that to become a U.S. citizen, you have to do all this studying and you have to prepare for an exam. Did you know that, Kyle?
I did not.
Did you know that?
Yes.
You did? Okay. Well, this is no easy exam. I mean, you got to know U.S. history.
Yes, you do.
And most U.S. citizens themselves don't know everything that's on that test.
Yeah, they don't. You know, and that was the point that we're making. Most U.S. citizens do not know the answers to that test. It's not a pushover test.
Yeah.
And these people studied. They took the test, and I'm telling you, I used to go to their homes. They'd have 4th of July parties because it was Independence Day. So I'd go to their homes here in Carefree or Scottsdale or Paradise Valley, or I even went some in Palm Springs. And they were so proud to be American citizens. They had these big 4th of July parties, Independence Day, and they'd be having flags. And, I mean, it was a big deal to them.
Yeah.
And they explained to me why it was a big deal to them. And for them to see people coming across the border illegally and not going through the steps and not following the rules of what they had to do to become U.S. citizens, it pisses them off. It offends them. And they says it ain't fair. And then they start telling you, and here's why it ain't fair. Here's why it's not fair, Ambassador. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom. And I'm listening to this, and I'm thinking, Jesus, you know, they're right. You know, I mean, if you're going to come here, come legally and go through the procedures and follow the rules and regulations, and we're a nation of laws, and do what Priscilla's ancestors did and what your ancestors did, Michael, and my ancestors actually, you know, did that. Priscilla, how does the Yaqui Nation feel towards the Mexican people coming in here? Is there any?
Excuse me, real quick, Uncle Dennis, Ambassador. I got to get going and start moving some freight across America. I hate to cut you off.
Okay, you
I'll
run.
let Veronica, Priscilla, you keep appreciate what you're saying, and I will get going. I got to move some freight across America, and I appreciate you allowing me to.
Well, thank you for coming on.
With you.
Thank you for coming on,
and
nephew.
you just keep on keeping on, Ambassador. Rock on.
Okay, buddy. I'll see you. Take care.
Bye bye.
Anyway, did you hear my question?
Do you mind repeating it?
No. How does the Yaqui people feel towards? How do they identify with Mexican people that are coming here illegally?
Well, what I'm told from my aunts that are all, living in the reservations and from Tucson, Arizona, from the new Pascua Yaqui tribe in Guadalupe, they tell me that, that it's they do kind of have a problem with it because everybody here, we're all entitled to have permission to come over at first before you get immigrated. There's the visas that they allow you to come over here, and if you do well and you're taking step by step, well, then you can become immigrated.
Right.
They had once down here in Mesa, Guadalupe, where they had Sheriff Joe Apio. there, and his troops, and they were taking people from there that did not have papers. They were Yaqui members from Sonora, Mexico, and they were deporting them, even though they were born here.
Really?
They were deporting them for not having papers, but those were from like a long time ago times.
Where their papers probably didn't exist or something.
Yeah, exactly. So they had a lot of that going on. And I was asking my aunts from the administrative offices, why are people getting deported here? If they're from Guadalupe, if they're Yaqui. They're like, because us Yaquis, we come from Mexico and we're from Sonora, and it's just like anybody else, They have to make sure who was born here and who was from over there.
Right. Well, see that's a big screw up on the behalf of the federal government, really.
Yes.
Because when they took your reservation, and you could look at it on a map, and I've been down there. Mm-hmm. I've been down there with Gerald Antone. He took me. He was the president of Salt River Pima over here. Mm-hmm. And the border of Arizona, if you look at this as the state of Arizona. Well, they made the border something like this here. And her people were on, some of them, thank God she's the lucky one, she was on the Arizona side. Well, the other part of the tribe was on the Mexico side. But they're Native Americans. They're from the same tribe. They were here before Mexico. They were here before the United States. So now they get caught up in this bullshit where they're on the wrong side of the tracks.
And they still have to apply for their papers.
Yeah, and it's a shame, really, because they were here before Arizona, New Mexico. They were here 1533.
It was just like my great-grandfather, he's history for me and has opened my eyes up wise. He was 116, died in Yuma, Arizona, and he was a full-blooded Yaqui Indian, and he never got approved for Social Security, or he never had a Social Security number for being born in the 18s.
Sure.
And when my grandmother used to take him to clinics or try to take him for benefits, they're like, they would never deport him or anything because he was born here when it was still Mexico.
Whacked out as that.
So he was kind of lucky, It's like at that time, the border was just the line in the dirt.
That's right. Yeah. And the old saying was, why did they make that crooked border? And they said, well, these surveyors were saying, well, the nearest bar was in Yuma. And that was the shortcut. Mm-hmm. That's your dad. He'll tell you about that. It's a joke, but it's probably true. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we're at the end of the line, I guess. It was a good show. Thanks for coming on, Priscilla.
You're welcome.
And Kyle, isn't she great?
Oh, she's great. You did great.
Yeah, you did good for your first show. So now you're going to be the ambassador's personal assistant. Or translator, the ambassador's personal translator. Since things are looking...
I was happy to be on the show, and thank you very much for having me here.
Well, thank you, and you've been a friend of our you're part of our familia now, and I can't thank you enough for what you've done for me at the house and for Jane over the past couple of years. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the end of the road. We still need more sponsors, but at least we got to start. And we're here at Star Worldwide, and Star Worldwide's just knocking them out of the park with the Pratt family. And as I tell everybody, we may be down, but we sure as hell are not out. And a winner never quits, and a quitter never wins. And that's what my dad told me ever since I was a little kid. So if you want to help us out, you can go to yellowhorse.us or email us at info@yellowhorse.us, or you can call 602-540-3000. That was Jane's cell phone number, so that's a great. I got her that cell phone number, and I decided I don't want to let it go, so I'm going to keep it, and she'll be ever answering the real deal. 602-540-3000 if you want to advertise on The Real Deal, or if you know anybody that wants to advertise. Tell your friends about us. Obviously you have, because we're the #1 show at Star Worldwide, and share it. And we got your back. And, it's like my friend Vernon Parker said last week. He says, you know what, Chief? He says, if I'm not offended, or if you're not offended, if you and Native Americans are not offended by these names, why should I and why should America be offended? And that's a good point, so take that with a grain of salt. We'll see you next week before Christmas. Everybody be safe, love their families. Feliz Navidad. Would you like to say something else, Priscilla?
Well, I like to wish everybody in Spanish una feliz Navidad a todos, nuestra familia y amigos, y que tengan una feliz año nuevo. Muchas gracias.
Good. And so I think we pretty much wrapped it up. And we also want to say again, thank you to the Graves Propane Company for being our first sponsor. And they're an independent propane dealer that you can get propane from in northern Arizona all the way up towards the Grand Canyon. So all our Navajo and Hopi brothers and sisters, please buy your propane from Graves Propane. They're good people, and they're supporters of The Real Deal, and they got your back as well, and they feel the same way about the teams that you feel about the names of the teams. So, Kyle, I guess I won't see you till after...
Till 2 weeks from now. Yeah.
2 weeks, okay. So I'll be on next week with a different producer.
Mm-hmm. I'll be listening in, though.
Oh, you better be. You better be. This is The Real
Always
Deal.
Always got to catch up.
Yeah, you got to catch up. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a night. We're going to call it a day. And Kyle, why don't you tell Priscilla and our listening audience why in the hell the ambassador's sitting here?
To kick ass and save names, Ambassador.
That's all we got.
Thank you for listening to The Real Deal. Tune in to The Real Deal with the Ambassador and special guest hosts every Wednesday at 5 p.m. and on demand 24/7 right here on Star Worldwide Networks.